Hello, it's Bangkok ChitChat with Andrew and Andy, the YouTube channel from Thailand, mainly all about Thailand. Well, this is always
You look
Thailand.
as if you got a big fright there. You jumped off.
I scared myself for a moment.
All right.
Anyway, it's time for another Pattaya report, and our man down there, of course, Craig, nice to see you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you guys. How are you?
Yeah, everything's okay. Right, so we might
I'm getting over my start.
we may as well
myself a heart attack.
jump into it. So what's the news down in Pattaya, since you're the local resident?
Starting
I am
off with-
indeed. I guess the news is that things have not changed in the last couple of weeks. As you know, Chonburi as a province is under the most tightest of restrictions, as it is in Bangkok. So therefore, we have the curfew from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. and pretty much everything except essential businesses, i.e., supermarkets, chemists, is closed still. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much of the same, really. I mean, you're allowed to go and walk along the beach. In fact, I've been doing some beachfront rather. I've been doing a bit of exercise in the morning along the front, which is fine. Better than some places. I know in Bangkok you can't go into open green spaces and exercise at the moment, but there's no sitting on the beach, and pretty much same as they say here.
Are there any vendors, like food vendors on the street, or are they allowed to sell snack food and things like that? Because you can in Bangkok.
Mooping and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all still there. I mean, I guess that's because it's deemed as essential, and you know where my office is, you have, for instance, like you might have a massage place, and as you know, some of the staff might live there, so you know you've still got people out and about. I mean, they'll be sat outside their massage, whether or not they're taking any sly business or not, I wouldn't know, but they're sat outside, and obviously they've still got to eat and get a Coca-Cola or a coffee and that type of thing. So the street vendors and the young lad who sells the Coca-Colas and the coffees and that down by my office, he's still doing his round.
But the restaurants, right? The restaurants, I mean, I know Bangkok, and this is the case in Bangkok. The restaurants now, obviously, no customers, and it used to be you could go there and order food and take it out, from outside.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to do that anymore.
No, I think you're not allowed to do that in the malls.
Well, no.
Shopping malls.
I've heard now. No, I've seen restaurants completely closed, and with outside the restaurant, grab food numbers and join this to get the food.
Right.
In other words, it's only online ordering.
Right.
They're not allowing people even to gather. I mean, I think it's got to be one rule for everybody. It can't be like, the mall thing I understand, because you're not allowed in the malls anyway. So you can't get there.
I think with the restaurants, and certainly with the Thai restaurants, Jet, it's right. You can get. They're just not allowed to have anyone sitting. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think so. I saw a story similar to that down at the Royal Garden Plaza, which I don't know if you know that in Pattaya on Beach Road, where they've got a number of fast food outlets there. They've just opened a Taco Bell actually recently, and they've got a McDonald's and a Swenson's and a few other these type chain restaurants. And that was the situation that you were talking about before, where you can't sort of go and order your food. And there was some crazy stories about people sort of turning up there literally and ordering a grab to go 10 meters.
Yeah. I mean, there's a Japanese restaurant in Arso, and I live in the boonies. Japanese one, and I got this thing translated. It said, no ordering from the shop. Please order through Grab. Here's
well, I must admit, that's the first. I know in Bangkok, in Chow Chai 4 and places like that, there's certainly people out selling food. Yeah, because don't forget, a lot of people are not allowed to cook in their apartments. Under the rule, if you got a studio or something like that, you're not allowed any cooking. So there's buying by the bag sort of thing on the street. But there's no open markets and things like that just now. They've been blocking them, from what I understand. But the key thing that they're trying to change is to do with the malls, because the malls were where somebody was using the restaurant to have food collected by the delivery people. They weren't allowed to do that anymore. They had to shut that down. This is one thing from the Sunrise Taco. He was saying that
really?
caused a big problem for him. So
There's still, there's still gatherings of people around food stalls, like almost food markets in certain areas of Pattaya. I mean, like a lot of this situation, I'm never too sure exactly what the rules are. For instance, I mean, I live over on the dark side, and at the corner of Sukhumvit and Nong Plu Wan, which is the road that I drive down each evening after work. On the right hand side there, it's mobbed at 6:30, absolutely mobbed with people. There's a market there which is predominantly food, which has probably, I don't know, maybe 25 different food stalls. And from what I can gather, it's just business as normal.
Yeah, we have one at the end of our soy. It's not a wet food in the sense of there's no meat. It's all vegetables and everything else, and you just put your temperature check at the beginning, and they've roped it off. So you have to go single file into it. But once you get into it, you're amongst everybody. It's like a supermarket, I guess. And they're not closing supermarkets, are they?
No, they can't.
One thing I noticed actually, a new thing I noticed, and again, I don't know whether it's a directive or if it's just on a case by case with the business, is I went to a pharmacy near my office in Central Pattaya the other day, and that was all done just through a hole in the door. They weren't having you in there. I had to order the medication that I needed and then point to where it was, and they had to go and get it and hand it through the door. So again, whether that was something which is, because of course, obviously pharmacies are going to be the places that people that have maybe got a bit of sore throat, whatever, are going to go to medicate.
You take the fat cow. Shout out to Emmanuel. He, in the last lockdown, was allowed to people go to the place to get food and come out. They weren't allowed to go in, but he had tables and chairs outside, which I think maybe there's a couple of people may have had a beer while waiting. Where they purchased that beer from, I don't know. But they were sat outside, ordered their food, picked it up and went. Now he can't do that.
Right, okay.
He says, no, it's got to be a delivery service.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
That's a double whammy.
All right,
really.
so what about, I saw some information about what's happening with regard to COVID cases, that Chonburi, as of the 24th of August, there was 816 new cases for that day, 8 deaths, and 1,021 people recovering. So there seems to be the case levels is dropping as in active cases. Yeah. Before we're getting an average in Thailand of over 20,000.
Yeah.
Now we're down to, I think, between 17 and 19. So on the 25th was 18,417 new cases in the whole of Thailand. And 217 deaths. So that's the figures from the 25th of August. And so it seems to be generally dropping figures from what I see. And I noticed that on Saturday, on the 31st of August, that Pattaya will have, they will vaccinate 30,000 people with Sinopharm. So basically, people can be vaccinated. And you were mentioning about the opening. We're discussing off camera about the opening of Pattaya.
Oh yeah, I mean, they say the 1st of September was that. I mean, it was penciled in 1st of September to open things. I just looked at the local, Pattaya paper this morning, and they said due to the cases not diminishing that much, it looks very sketchy whether it'll be open on the 1st of September. That's all I read.
They've already declared that it will not be September 1st.
Oh.
That's done. Yeah, what they're aiming for and hoping
where
for.
we are now to a complete shift, is there? I mean, everything has to be
that's
done
next week for heaven's
gradually in stages. And I mean, if you're referring to the plan they had sort of a few months back, where of course the Phuket sandbox, which is already in place, was in place, and then Pattaya was going to have a similar type of trial. Of course, that's obviously been put back 3, 4, 5 months or whatever, I think, before any tourist.
What they're saying for Pattaya, they're targeting because they've bought another 100,000 doses of Sinopharm, and the reason they bought it is because the government was supposed to supply 950,000 and never did. At least that's what they're saying. So they've bought another 100,000. So they're saying October 1st is their next target.
opening up means no quarantine, right? Is that the definition
Well, this is
of opening?
as ever, as in
But
every
vaccinated,
government, yeah.
but vaccinated.
We don't
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah,
know
you've
for
got to be
fact.
vaccinated, of course. I mean, that's going to be part of the course. You know, we all
Yeah.
know that's it. You're going to have a vaccination to come in. But I mean, when you come in as a vaccinated individual, like you've got in Phuket, yes, you've got various other hoops to jump through in order to meet the requirements. But at the same time, you can still turn up in Phuket, have a 2-week holiday without having to stay in a hotel room for 2 weeks. If the same blueprint's going to be followed for Pattaya, Hua Hin. Funny enough, Chiang Mai I read about are still aiming for the 1st of October.
Yep.
So I think when you look at the number of cases in Chiang Mai compared to somewhere like Pattaya or Chonburi province, then that would suggest that Pattaya's got to be at least a month or 2 months behind, where Chiang Mai would be. But at the same time, like you said before, though, about the numbers decreasing. I mean, when I said at the beginning of this podcast, that it was, pretty much same, and doom and gloom. I think there is a general more positive feeling out there because number
Totally
one,
agree.
like you say, the number of cases are down. It was the day before yesterday in Pattaya had the lowest number of cases. Okay, a slight jump today, or today for yesterday. But couple that with the vaccination numbers improving, both as you say for foreigners and for locals, it means that we are moving in the right direction. So I don't think it can really get too much worse because ultimately the Western world and other parts of the world have shown that vaccination is our only way out, and if vaccinations are happening, then hey, and everyone seems to think that it's. I mean, I had one as well, and I've got some family members that have had one recently. And one thing I have to say is, when it comes to the process, everybody I've spoken to has been very, very pleased with how smoothly their process went when it came to their vaccination.
Yeah, impressed. So was I. Yeah, there was a lot of paperwork involved, but they had it, and they had the dates for the next one, and they're all exactly the same amount of space between the guy that had it yesterday. He's the day before me because it was my son, and so they are very, very together on that one.
Yeah, I've been impressed as well.
Yeah.
I had a situation when I got Pfizer. And when they came in, I had this wrong. They originally said get a certificate from your doctor.
What, a health certificate?
A certificate to state if you had any pre-existing condition, which I have. I have one. One being overweight, and
one leg.
Yeah. So basically, I provided from a medical clinic, and they rejected it. So they said I had to go to a government hospital to get the certificate. Yeah. But they were very clear. They were very defined. It wasn't a matter of debating. There was no debate. Yeah. You just felt that you couldn't argue with them because they were just so clear. So I was very impressed. When I came back, they gave me at that time they said, "Do you want to take AstraZeneca?" I went, "No." So I went and got the certificate, came back, and they looked at it, and then there was a problem again because a hospital called itself
a clinic.
The clinic within the hospital. And then when I showed the card, the hospital card, they went, "We know that hospital. Yeah, it's okay." Yeah.
I can understand that clinic thing because let's face it. I mean, I remember having to get work permits and all this, and if you went to a hospital for a full medical check, which was required for a work permit, God knows what they would find, but also the bill. But there were also those little clinic, and they would be able to do whatever they had to do very cheaply and very quickly, and that was enough. Yeah. So I get it on something as serious as this. They've just eliminated the word clinic.
Well, one thing I did when I did go to the government hospital, they actually had to take a blood test. So it wasn't just doing normally. If you're a diabetic, you get and they test it. Yeah. So they do by diabetes, blood, the whole lot. So they took a blood test. So they followed the rule. Yeah.
All right.
They had to pay for it. Yeah. But,
for the viewers here, don't get confused. I know this is getting away from the Pattaya thing, but it's an interesting subject. I didn't need to give a health certificate. I don't know whether Craig had to. Why did you have to? Because
the reason I got Pfizer as opposed to AstraZeneca is because I do have one of the 7.
So what you're saying is, if you went for AstraZeneca, you wouldn't have needed a health certificate?
No.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's why I got Pfizer.
That needs to be You're right, Andy. I mean, I've been a bit confused by all this as well. And, ultimately, I think, to be fair, there is just a number of channels available to get yourself vaccinated, whether you're someone with underlying conditions or whether you're someone without underlying conditions. But my understanding is that if you, as Andrew said, it seems the Pfizer one is the one that's favoured for those with underlying conditions. Now,
well, there's a reason for it.
I'm not.
The reason is simple. With AstraZeneca, you get it, and within 8 to 12 weeks, you get your second one. With Pfizer, you get the first one, and 2 weeks later, you get your second one. So that's basically the idea is to get as much protection as you can. Yeah.
Did you get the Rolls Royce of vaccines then?
Well, the thing is, Rolls Royce, the vaccine, what is that? It keeps changing in the media. We don't know what's Rolls Royce. They're saying, one's going to give you 6 months protection, another one's going to give you 3, and then if you mix them, it's all very, very confusing. So basically, what I did is a recommendation of a friend who is a doctor, and also my sister who's a nurse, was if you can get Pfizer, take it. Yeah. So I've taken that advice. The internet, we can read as much as we want. It's everybody's opinion.
Okay, listen, let's move on. I want to ask you a question that hasn't been planned, and it's nothing to do with news or anything, but I've got a question that I get asked from other people.
Sure.
And there's a couple of other news items we want to do.
And you go.
Let's move on. A lot of people say to me that come here on holiday or are coming, they say, what's the dark side of Pattaya? Because it sounds a little bit like ominous. You've gone over to the dark side. And when I first heard that, I had to admit, what do they mean by the dark side? Can you briefly tell us, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, what is the difference between why is it called, I think I know why it's called the dark side, but why is it called the dark side? And why is the other side the bright side then? And what's the difference?
Well,
and what is the difference?
Very simply, that's my understanding of it, is that, first of all, the border for dark side is Sukhumvit Road, the main highway that runs through Pattaya. And anything east of that, is away from the beach, is known as the dark side. Everything on the other side is I don't think it's called the light side as such. It's just not the dark. And
it's called the fun side.
Well, I mean, you'd be surprised. You could have a bit of fun on the dark side.
That's my
question.
Sure. Yeah.
But no, I believe the name simply stems from the fact that maybe even as not that long ago, maybe even just 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there really was very little in the way of lighting over there, street lights and that type of thing, because it was a very underdeveloped area. I can tell you now that, I mean, guys I've known as well, there's some fellas I know that have made some serious money by buying land over on that side sort of 25 years ago or whatever. And now there's so many of us foreigners living there. They've been developed into Mubans and this type of thing, and just even buying land and selling it on. It's obviously boomed because now it's a very well-established community, and
it has all the amenities, all the superstores, and all the 7-Elevens. It's just like another suburb of Pattaya, right?
Oh, I mean, I suppose it's so much more spread out, the dark side, because the Sukhumvit Road itself is a long road, right? So therefore, you've got everything kind of east of that. So therefore, it covers a large area. But I mean, to give you an idea, I mean, I play under normal circumstances in one of the pool leagues there, and they run, I think, a dark side pool league. There's probably about in the region of 30 bars that play in that pool league. Okay. And I think somebody had told me not so long ago that there was like 70 or 80 bars in the dark side. And although, as I said before, the dark side can be a fairly wide area, that's probably just talking about places like Soi Siam Country Club, which is a main thoroughfare, Nong Plu One I mentioned before, near where I live, Khao Noi, Khao Talau. These are kind of the more sort of developed areas of the dark side, which are absolutely booming when it comes to bars and restaurants and choice of cuisines and all that type of thing. It's certainly not.
Well, that's a conversation for another day, because I find that really interesting. We can go into real estate prices and business opportunities. building houses as
I think there's
opposed
going to
to...
be lots of business opportunities as of the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Colarn. I noticed also Colarn. They seem to know what they're doing. Yeah, right. They will be going up, but they actually stopped opening up. They may be opening up on August 31st. Yeah.
That's for like day trips.
That's 31st of August.
Yeah, they'd originally said 23rd of August, and they put that forward.
That's like for day trippers, right? And
yes, for day trippers. They basically locked themselves down.
It all goes back to the same thing, though, doesn't it? You know, I mean, it's all very well being able to go somewhere, but if you can't go and have something to eat and a drink and relax,
exactly.
What is the point?
Well, yeah, that's my point. You know, let's open up, and it's like Phuket. The restaurants are open there, from what I was told. People said it was all closed, but there was no nightlife as such. Like, the bars and the strip. Like Walking Street and things like that. Now, at the end of this month, there's going to be an announcement. There's going to be 2 phases. They're looking at opening up restaurants. Now, don't forget, you're a red district, as we are in Bangkok. All right, so this will probably you'll fall under that category. So they're looking at opening up restaurants at 50% capacity. Yeah. So if for your square meterage, basically saying you can do 50%.
Move the tables.
Yeah.
And have the
so
screen.
as it was before. So they're going to allow things like construction to start, furniture, dental clinics, spas, massage parlors, medical clinics, beauty salons, golf courses, and other outdoor sports clubs. But they're still not allowing fitness centres to open. There's nothing clear about that. They said, "Oh, we may." Yeah. What's the difference between a fitness centre
and a massage parlour?
A massage parlour. It's still lots of hot air. Yeah.
There's a lot more of everything, but never mind about that. I don't know.
So they're looking at that.
I think, as you say, it's always speculation, isn't it?
No, this is speculation. You're right, but what I'm saying is, it seems to be more organised, and then they'll have a second phase where they'll open up more, and they'll allow restaurants to have sit-in up to 75% capacity. So basically, what I'm saying is that there's some hope to have some life back. Yeah,
well, yeah. I wouldn't like to put a date on it.
But what I found is from the restaurateurs.
Well, you said, I don't know. I mean, you said that in September there might be. You say golf course. I mean, I like my golf. So golf courses are a big one for me, and they were one of the last things to be chalked off. You know, that you can't do. And so, and why shouldn't you? Because ultimately, as you say, there's nowhere really safer, is there? I mean, everyone's got their own space and everything else. The only slight danger is if you're in a buggy with a caddy or whatever, but I mean, they've got the screens in place and people are tested and all that type of thing. So, golf would be good and gyms would be good. But yeah, they just seem to beat up on the entertainment industry, don't they? I mean, look, I guess at the end of the day, when you have a drink, you say, and your guards drop and there's, hugging. And,
it's socialising, really. It's socialising.
But even speaking to a couple of restaurateurs I know, when it was, they've just closed down, but when it was the restricted and you could eat out, what they said is it doesn't make any difference to us if it's 50%. Most people are still scared to go out full stop. So 50% is better than nothing. So it's not just the rules. It's not a race where you're all standing at the starting line. Yeah, people are still choosing not to go out for some reason. Yeah, for obvious reasons. Yeah, so I think it's great if this announcement will be made next week. So that should be Tuesday, and we'll see where we are. So that'll affect you as well. Yeah.
I turned out another story I read, and I'm not going to go into all of it because it's another conversation for another day, but they've got plans for Beach Road, right, which I only found out about this morning. They're going to make the beach like longer, like wide, deeper. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to make the beach longer. And they're chopping down trees. So all the Pattaya residents are up in arms about chopping down trees, quite rightly so. And they said, well, we're only going to chop down about 25% of them. And the ones we're chopping down are the ones that attract vermin and insects and this and that and the other. And they were planted in the first place by vendors. They're very quick growing trees, and they were planted by vendors because they wanted some shade. It's in the news this morning. I could believe the story. That's what's so unbelievable.
I did about it, only having palm trees or something and having them sort of spread out over a certain...
All right, that's about it, I think.
I think that's about it. Yeah, it's great
Yeah.
to see you again.
Yeah.
See you face to face sooner
Yeah.
rather than later, I hope.
I'm sorry, guys,
Hopefully
about the COVID. You know.
Hopefully a bit more upbeat next time, and then yeah, we can go from there. Because as you say, I think hopefully we've hit the lowest.
Yeah, I want to see you in the
Yeah, I
studio,
saw so.
Craig. I always enjoyed when we're face to face. Something that me and Andrew have missed over the last few weeks. It's not easy doing the Zooming, but it'll have to do for now.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Craig. Thanks very much indeed. Stay safe.
cool.
Stay well.
All right.
And you guys.
Yeah.
Speak to you later.
Say
Cheers.
hello to the dark
Bye.
side. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed that. And that's it, really, for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye from him.
Okay.
Bye from me.
Speak to you later. Bye.
Yeah.